after lunch, where do I go? What do I do? Um, how am I going to get through the rest of the day without him or without people around me? Um, so I've just been very grateful and blessed that my best friend has included me in his family gatherings. Um, this year, I'm choosing to do something else different and doing what's going to make me feel closer to my husband, and that's spending it with the people that were the closest to him, which is his best friends. But yeah, it's a lot of I have a lot of emotional roller coaster days. And the more it gets closer to Thanksgiving, it gets, stronger. But yeah, so that's what I've been going through.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Tina. Um, and so I just put it in the chat there, you guys. If you could just put it in the chat. You don't have to actually unmute yourself and share what the holidays bring up for you. But, just to kind of give you some examples, and we shared that maybe in the beginning when I asked, like, what was one word, right? That you're feeling coming into this workshop. So, the holidays can bring up sadness, it could bring up overwhelm, it could bring up pressure, right? Pressure to have to be involved in certain things. It could bring up loneliness, guilt, numbness. Some of the words that you guys use, apprehension, right? It can also lead or make you feel isolated, right? And so I'd love to know, like, just type in the chat, and for you, Keith, don't mean to single you out, but thank you for sharing with us that you don't celebrate the holidays. But just right now, like in these moments, or maybe the rest of the year, as you're looking at 2025 closing out, like, what are some of the feelings that are stirring up inside of you? The holidays bring many mixed emotions because my husband passed away in October 2021. Thank you, Vivian, for sharing that. My heart is with you. The day before Halloween, November 2023, my daughter passed away 2 days after Thanksgiving. Oh, honey, we are definitely holding space for you right now. Loneliness, definitely. Loneliness. Yeah, yeah. And as widows and widowers, that loneliness is a real thing, right? It screams so loudly for all of us. Was on a call with, some of my widow sisters earlier today, and we talked about, the difference between wanting to be alone and liking that space sometimes of, me time or whatever versus being lonely, right? And we can't get away from that, right? Being a widower, we definitely feel the impact of being lonely. Christmas would be lonely because we got engaged on Christmas Eve, and I'm moving down to Florida for winter, and we'll be away from friends, but we'll be going to our friends or be alone. Got it. Thank you, Bridget. Thank you for
Oh,
sharing.
wow.
Feeling loneliness for the year to come. Yeah, yeah. Lots of loneliness. Lots of loneliness. It's something that we all could definitely all relate. We can all relate. So today, the theme of today again is our inner world, right? What is going on inside of us? Um, if you have the book, I know that Judy had said that she got her book, so she's excited about that. If you have the book, then you'll know, or if you're part of my program, then you'll know what I'm going to be talking about. And if you don't, that's okay too. Um, but the first thing that I like to talk about with people that I work with is the first principle in my widow's success framework, empowered widow success framework, and that is called awareness. Becoming aware of what is happening inside of us, right? The emotional, the mental, and the physical. And so today specifically, I want to talk about our nervous system because when we are dealing with grief, grief is stress. And when our body is stressed, the brain tells the nervous system to go into fight or flight, freeze or fawn, right? That's the nervous system response. I'd love to know in the chat, first of all, put a heart in the chat or yes, if you have the book. I just want to know how many of you I'm talking to that know exactly what I'm talking about, so I kind of can frame the next pieces of what I'm going
So
to.
it's on Amazon, darling, correct?
Yes, it's on Amazon. And Keith, I could send you the I can send you the direct link to order the book. No worries. Okay, Tina has the book. Who else has the book? So give me a heart. I just love to know who has it. Alfreda's got the book. Awesome, awesome. I know Judy has it. Um, all right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you all so much. Bobby, that's my mom, guys. Bobby Titano, she just joined us. Thanks for joining us, Mom. Always appreciate your support. Vivian, yes, I will also send you that direct link, right, as well. So 1 second, let me just go back to my notes here. So we're going to talk about the nervous system response. There's 4 responses to the nervous system. There's fight. And when we are in a fight response, we're frustrated, we're intense, we're irritable. That's the fight response in our body, right? A lot of times those heightened emotions can lead to anger. You know, when I first started going down this grief journey, I learned that anger is a surface emotion. And they call it a surface emotion because most of us have grown up to know that anger is one of those responses that we've seen others or we've observed others or we've seen it in ourselves. And it always seems to be like it's okay to get angry, right? But it's not okay to be scared. It's not okay to feel guilty. It's not okay to be ashamed. It's not okay to be sad. And so a lot of times in that fight response, we're going to get irritable and angry, but really it's a surface emotion. And what's below that? And give you guys kind of an example of that. When you and your late husband or late wife, got into a disagreement or whatever, and maybe they hurt your feelings. But instead of saying that you hurt my feelings, you get angry too, right? Or you want to hurt them, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, right? And that's what I mean about anger being a surface emotion. The next nervous system response is that flight response. Keeping busy, right? Staying distracted, avoiding stillness, right? As widows and widowers, we know that the quiet is loud. The room being empty is loud. Stillness is loud. And so to avoid that loudness of being alone, we stay busy, right? We stay busy, we stay distracted. You know how many times I reach out to widows and I say, hey, I've got this program, or hey, they're going through something, I'd love to help you. And it's always, I don't know, Dar, I'll let you know. I'm so busy. I've got work, I've got the kids, I've got all these things. And it's always easier to show up for everybody else than it is to show up for ourselves. So busyness is one of those things, right? Alfreda, can you let Cindy into the room? The next nervous system response is freeze, right? Freeze. We disconnect. We shut down. The body gets numb, right? I don't know about you guys, but I remember when I first lost Frank, that initial feeling of being scared and just unbelievable. Like it was so unreal that this was happening. And then before I knew it, I just became numb. Like I felt nothing. That was the nervous system shutting down because everything inside of me is breaking. It's breaking. And then the final nervous system response, and this one I learned just over the last year, is called fawn. How many of you have heard of fawn? Fight, flight, freeze, but now there's fawn. Yeah, of course, those of you that are in my program, of course, you're going to raise your hand. Anybody else have heard of fawn? Yeah, I didn't think so. And that's okay, right? Because I just learned it just this year and I'm thinking, well, that's a new one. Fawn is all about the people pleasing. So much easier to people please, to get people to stay connected to you because we feel so disconnected, right? It's so much easier to show up for everybody else than to show up for ourselves. And so that nervous system fawn response is, I don't believe it's new. I think it's just one of those things that they didn't really bring to the forefront. It was always fight or flight. Then they added freeze and then they added fawn, right? So those are all nervous system responses. So I'd love to know in the chat, right? Fight, irritability, frustration, flight, being busy, freeze, shutting down, disconnecting, or fawn, people pleasing. I'd love to know in the chat, which one do you think your nervous system leads you to when you're going through a series of human emotions, overwhelm, grief, stress, freeze, freeze, shutting down, none, disconnecting. Pretty much all of them. Yeah, I'm with you there, Alfreda. Yeah, flight. Yeah, keeping busy. Yeah, staying distracted, avoiding stillness. It's a really big one for us. All of them, Vivian. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I want to come back to that awareness, right? Because when I talk about awareness, it's so important for us to be intentional about what's going on. We're so busy in our lives, and much of what we do, how we, the action steps that we take are all done unconsciously, right? And I can go down a rabbit hole and talk about all of those things, how the conscious versus the unconscious. But our actions are literally driven by the unconscious mind, which means that we never really stop and are intentional to think about what is actually happening. We just automatically go into what keeps us safe, right? Grief to the brain is not safe. And so it's going to tell your nervous system, oh, red alert, red alert. We need to keep them safe. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And a lot of that will depend on what you're used to in your life, right? The brain will always go back to what's familiar. And so I want you guys to just kind of think about this for a moment. When you were younger, right? Before any of this was going on, before you lost your spouse, maybe even before you got married, right? At a young age, as children, we are very good at survival skills, right? We're very good at that as kids. And we never realize that a lot of what we did as children, we carry into our adult life. We may interpret it different or we may do it a little bit different, but we usually will come and do the same thing because the brain will always go back to what's familiar. I was sharing with the ladies earlier that as a kid, I was super quiet when there was ever any type of conflict in my life. And my mom, right, can attest to this. Like they'll ask me what's wrong and I'll just zip, shut my mouth, right? Because that was my way of protecting myself. Don't cause any more conflict, Dar. Don't say anything, right? Because it doesn't matter what you say. You're going to be judged or you're going to be scolded or people are just not going to agree with whatever you say. It's not going to come out right, whatever it is, right? That my brain tells me. And so I was shut down. And so after Frank died, it was so hard for me to tell anybody how I felt. And I shut down. I went back to that freeze mode, My body remembered what I did as a kid to protect myself. And that's what I did. And I isolated and I disconnected, right? My mom literally had to come over to my house and drag me out of my bed to take a shower. Because I hadn't got out of my room in days. Right? Many of you could probably relate to that. And so we really need to be intentional, ladies and gents. What is your body going through? What is the nervous system response that you default to unconsciously? You don't even realize it. Because when we do that, we're not allowing our bodies to fully express what it's feeling. Remember that human emotions are meant to be felt. They're meant to be processed through, right? And when we suppress them and we shut them down, our body is at war within itself, right? It's constantly trying to protect you in all ways. But the brain does not know the difference between you running for your life, right? They used to use this analogy in a lot of different trainings, mental health type of development, training development, things like that, where they would say that the brain does not know the difference, right? So stress is identified by the brain the same way, whether it is there was a word that I used to use in the beginning when I used to do my 5-day programs. Some of you might remember this. But anyways, it doesn't know the difference between you running from, like, say, a saber-toothed tiger, right? Or you just lost your husband or your wife. That stress in the brain is completely the same. It's completely the same. The brain doesn't know the difference between past, present, or future. All the brain knows what to do is to keep you safe and protect you. And so anytime your body is going through stress, grief, overwhelm, loneliness, fear, shame, guilt, it's all stress. And the brain will fight to protect you from it. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Right? So here are a couple of things that I'd love to share with you guys on what you could do to help you to get grounded. Okay, help you get grounded. So if you could just be open, whether you've done this type of exercise or not, I'd love for you all to just close your eyes for a moment. Make sure that your feet is touching the ground, right? Because grounding is so important. Sit comfortable, just relax, right? If you've got legs crossed, uncross them. If you have arms crossed, uncross them. Keep everything open. Let your shoulders just soften. I want you to slowly breathe in through your nose. And then slowly breathe out through your mouth. And continue to do that. I want you to place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. And I want you to feel that. Feel your body rising and falling. And let your breath be steady and let your body be supported. Right? No pressure, just presence. In and out. In and out. There's no one that's important enough than you right now. You're safe here. In and out, whatever you're feeling in this moment. I want you to just, in your mind, tell yourself that you're safe and you're grounded. And then take one more breath in, one more breath out. And when you're ready, you can come back to the room. Deep breathing is the simplest, the easiest, and honestly the best way to come back to the present moment. Remember that the present is literally the only place in time that you can control. We cannot control what happened in the past. It's gone. Can't change it. And we cannot control what happens in the future. Right? So the past will usually bring us feelings of guilt, shame, anger, resentment, fear. The future will usually lead to anxiety, fear, trying to protect yourself because you're relating it to the past. Right now, in this moment, right? So whenever you are sad, whenever you are lonely, whenever you're thinking about the past, worried about the future, do that simple breathing exercise. Hand on heart, hand on stomach. Slow, deep breaths in through your nose. Slow, deep breaths out through your mouth. And you can do little things like what I said earlier. Tell yourself, I'm safe, I'm grounded. Or think of a good memory, right? One of the things that I love to do for myself was just think about a really, really special moment with Frank and have that clearly in my mind so that I can bring a smile to my face together with tears. Right? But I allow those moments to just hold me, to embrace me, right? I also know, though, that there are some people that those moments bring too much pain, right? They bring too much pain. And if that's you, that's okay, right? Then you bring yourself to a place that does bring you peace. I remember doing an exercise like this once with a widow, and I said, what brings you peace? And I'm looking at Ness's background there. The ocean, the sound of the waves. That brought her peace. So I said, then you think of that. Think of the ocean. Think of the waves crashing. Think of the wind blowing. Think of the sun shining down on you. Whatever it is that brings you peace and joy, put that into your mind as you're grounding yourself. But grounding is so important. And when I say grounding, I mean literally feet on the ground. And if you could have shoes off, no socks, literally touching the ground, your body, your brain knows this, you're touching the ground. You're like literally, that's what I mean, like grounding in a literal sense. Grounding in a literal sense. Showing your body and your brain, and your heart all together that you are safe. That you are safe. Okay. So before we did that exercise, some of you were feeling apprehensive, some of you were feeling anxious, many of you put in there lonely. I'd love to know, as you were doing that breathing exercise and you came back to the present moment, did those feelings change for you? Did you feel a little bit safer? Did your heart feel a little bit calmer? Type yes in the chat if that was you. Yes. Yeah, amazing. Good. Good, good. Yeah. So now I'd just like to have like a little bit of a conversation. We have a little bit under 30 minutes left, and I'd love to go. Thank you. Calmer, calmer. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay, Mom. Calmer. I love it, right? Calmness. Yes. And that's what deep breathing will do for you. People don't realize how important it is, deep breathing. There's so much more other benefits to deep breathing. But for those of us right now in the room and where we're at in our life, like doing it to calm our heart, to ease our anxiety, our fears, our loneliness, whatever it is that you're feeling, right? Those deep breathing exercises can help you in those moments. Okay. So just a little bit of conversation, and whoever would like to have a conversation with us here. As the holidays are approaching, so for those of us in the United States and Guam, I think Canada's a little bit different. You guys already had your Thanksgiving, but our Thanksgiving is coming up next week, right? So that's what I love about being married to a Canadian, because I get to celebrate Thanksgiving twice. We celebrated in October, and then now I get to celebrate again in November. How fun, right? How fun. All right. So for those of you that are going to be celebrating Thanksgiving next week, like Teena shared, right? And I love how she is holding some boundaries around herself and honoring her husband, right? Celebrating with people that have been there from the beginning, people that her husband was closest to. That may not necessarily make the rest of her family feel good, right? But it isn't about her family. This is about Teena and what she needs in this moment, in this space, in this season of her life, and for this holiday, right? So if there's anybody that would love to have like just a chat back and forth and I can help you, and I know that it'll serve the room, what is something that you might be anxious as this Thanksgiving holiday is approaching so that we can walk you through or guide you through that? Would anybody like to share? And those of you that don't have your cameras on, that's okay. If you want to just unmute and if you want to share, that's okay too. You don't have to have your camera on. Just to give you an idea. Anybody? Shy? Okay, Miss Judy. Thank you, Miss Judy. Judy's raising her hand. All right, go ahead and unmute yourself, Miss Judy. You're muted.
Okay, I have not been here in St. Louis for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, whatever, living here. The last time was 2014. So my grandchildren at that time were babies and more coming. My husband was alive. My parents were alive. Husbands that are no longer in the picture are gone. I really don't know what to expect. Everything's so splintered and different. I mean, it's going to be here. My youngest daughter and I have sat down and had fun with recipes and picking out the right one and which one of us is making what. But when all those faces are at the table next week, I don't know what's going to be like. It'll be totally strange and different.
Okay, got it. And I think we talked about this a little bit, right, at one of our sessions. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So not knowing what to expect, future, right? That's future, right? So a lot of times when we have expectations, and I'm not saying we should not ever have expectations, but I want you guys to remember this. Expectations many times can be what we call planned disappointments. Planned disappointments. And the reason why I say that is because if we have an expectation of how something is going to turn out, a lot of times the people that you're around or the people that you're going to be experiencing this moment with, well, they might have a different expectation, right? And especially if you're not the one planning it, and even if you are, though, even if you are, for example, you could still be disappointed in how it turns out, right? Because again, it's the future. Remember what I said just a few minutes ago, right? We can't change the past and we can't really plan the future, right? Not in a sense that we know exactly what's going to happen. Like we don't, right? So here's what can happen, Miss Judy, if you're okay with a few tips. Is that okay if I share with you some? And this can serve all of you as well, right? If you're having these expectations of, I don't know what to expect, right? So number one, don't expect anything. Don't expect anything. However, you can be intentional, right? So intention over expectation. Intention over expectation. And when you think about the intentions, Judy, what intention would you like to have this Thanksgiving with your family?
People arrive with a whole lot of gratitude on their hearts.
Okay. Okay. So when we think about intention is really only what we can control, right? And so I love that you want them to have gratitude. But here's how you can intentionally guide and lead and inspire that, because we can't really choose that for people, but we can definitely inspire. We could definitely lead by example, right? I remember you shared, and in fact, I keep forgetting to talk to my daughter about it, but we're going to talk about it because I love the idea that you shared with us about, how do we show gratitude, right? And you had so many great ideas. Will that work now with the grandkids being older, and you haven't been around them in a while? It may or may not, right? But at the end of the day, if you're intentional, right, and your intention is, I'm going to come into this Thanksgiving with a grateful heart. Remember, we talked about energy. And if you want your energy to be more powerful than everybody else's, if you want your energy to be the energy that everybody else feels, then your energy has to be good energy, right? Come from the heart. Intention. I'm going to come into this with deep gratitude. I'm grateful that I'm actually here with my family. It's been years. Right? I'm grateful that I get to do this with them. They're much older. My grandkids are much older. It's going to be a different way of maybe celebrating, right? But come up with some ideas. Remember, we talked about this also, the transparency. So if you're celebrating with a big family, right, get them involved, right? I'll be honest, and my mom can attest, I can be a control freak, right? And I kind of want things a certain way. And sometimes I have to come back and I'm like, Mom, and she'd be like, honey, right? The kids are adults now, like it's okay. And my mom's so much better at that than I am. And sometimes I have to come to her and I'm like, how do you do that? How do you be able to just take a step back and just love on us and allow us to make those decisions, right? So I'm still learning from my mom from all of that stuff, right? But my mom loves me, and I now ask for her forgiveness later, but she wasn't always like that.
Hmm.
Mom was a control freak at one point in my life too. I can remember that, right? But over the years, and we all know this, right? As we get older, we get wiser, we maybe get more calm, we're more reflective. And it's okay if we let go of some of the reins, Judy, right? And so I know that Thanksgiving is going to be at your house because you had shared that with us before, right? But just because it's at your house doesn't mean that the entire celebration has to be planned by you. Like, get the kids involved, especially like the grandkids, because they're older, right? And I know you miss, like kind of the little people in your life, because they bring out the magic of the holiday, right? They really do. And as they get older, they kind of lose that magic in that sense, but they don't have to, right? They don't have to. It can be celebrated different, right? So intention over expectation, lead by example, and be intentional about your energy. Right? Be intentional about your energy. If your energy is weak, guys, and I'm talking about like exhausted, having a mind frame that I'm giving up, I don't care, right? That's another thing. Like, I don't care. And Mick has taught me a lot about that, because sometimes I'll say that and I don't mean it in a context of I don't care about the situation. I think I say it a lot of times where it's not going to bother me, but wrong choice of words.
Hmm.
Wrong choice of words. So even the choice of words that we use, right? So it's not that I don't care. It's just that it's okay however it turns out. And I guess I should say it that way more than I don't care. Because that can trigger, right? That can trigger family members, for example. I don't care what we do. You guys figure it out. Right? Family can interpret that like, wow, she doesn't care, really?
Mhm.
And I find myself saying that very often in my life. And again, I never mean it that way. Brain will go back to what's familiar and what it's used to hearing me say, my truth, right? So again, intention over expectation, your energy, let it lead you, and you come and inspire with a grateful heart. That help?
I want Vanessa, please.
But say that again.
I want Vanessa's palm tree in the breeze.
I know. That's a
Mm.
great background, Ness. You're literally making me feel calm, but also making me miss miss island life. I'm like, ah, me too. Me too. Especially now, you guys, like I'm cold, right? I'm not used to this cold weather. I'm not used to this cold weather. Um, Thank you, Miss Judy, for sharing that. I hope that helped you guys a little bit in the room, especially if you are walking into any situation or experience or an event with someone or with people, and you have these high expectations. Almost always we're going to be disappointed, right? So walk in instead with intention. And what is your intention? Not what you intend for everybody else, but yourself. My intention is to come in and I'm going to be just grateful, right? My intention is that I'm just going to love on my family and just enjoy the day, right? I'm going to be celebrating Thanksgiving with my two daughters. My mom is traveling from Guam to come join us, and my sister will be here. So, it's going to be amazing to have mom there. We haven't celebrated Thanksgiving with mom in years, and I haven't celebrated Thanksgiving with my daughters as well. I've been with Nick, and we've been traveling, and so this will be nice. I'm a little bit sad that my son and his family are not here, so we're not complete in a sense that I would love for us to be complete. However, right? I am going to honor those feelings of sadness, missing my son and his family, and allow it to sit together with gratitude that I'm going to be here with my mom and my sister and my two daughters and five of the nine. Yeah, five of the nine. I had to count in my head. Five of the nine grandchildren. They are always the thing that makes me grateful for life, right? Are those little humans in my life. You guys read my book, you'll see in the beginning, in the prologue, they're the reason. And Frank reminded me of that, right? You gotta move on, Dar. You gotta get up. You gotta keep moving for them. For them. Those were his words to my heart, right? And I'll never forget it. All right. Anybody else would like to share? We've got 10 minutes more. And again, I want to be very mindful of everybody, especially those of you that are still at work. I know you're taking your hour to come, spend it with us. And so I do appreciate that. And I don't take that lightly. And so I want to be mindful of that. And I'll stay behind if anybody has questions or would like to chat a little bit more. But I want to kind of open up the room to Keith a little bit. I know, Keith, that you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but you mentioned earlier in the call that you had a friend that just died.
Right.
Yeah, and so you're going through some things. So is there anything that you need my help with right now that I'm sure it can serve the room as well? Is there anything that you'd like to bring up that I can help guide you through?
Wow. Well, it's just kind of like all the loneliness has come back. It's like literally Rhonda passed away yesterday. I mean, and like I say, it's just since Gil's death. It's just kind of brought all those feelings back, and it haven't been 7 years. I had made adjustments and I was actually feeling pretty good. But now it's gotten to the point where, like, literally, it's just like Rhonda passed away. The good part of it is I'm remembering a lot of things about her, like some of the things she said to me. And I know those are kind of like gems. You probably have that too. Some of the things your husband said to you, and they're special and they're always going to be special. And that part of it's positive. But the negative part is just the loneliness, missing the constant conversation, the interaction. I mean, and women are so different than men. I mean, I have to admit, I'm a kind of a girl guy. I mean, I'm just a sucker for women, and I just love having a woman around because it's so different than having men around. I mean, we're so boring. I hate to say it, but we're so boring. But women are not. I mean, it's just having a woman around is so special. So,
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And just makes me curious. And I think that maybe you need to get a little bit more curious as well. I want to encourage you to do that. Like I know you said, the last 7 years, like you've been doing okay, you've been doing good. And then Gil dies, and then now like all comes rushing back. what I said earlier, right? The brain will always go back to what's familiar until we change the familiar. And we never realize how much we stuff up. Like I think earlier you said you are in flight mode. I think that's
Right.
what you said, right? So kept busy,
Mm.
right? You kept busy. The stillness was not something that maybe were comfortable with. And I get that, right? But in our busyness, it doesn't give us an opportunity to really sit and heal the parts of us that need to be healed. And so a lot of times, right, we're going to keep going and keep going and going until we can't anymore. Or something, an event such as your friend's death, will come and trigger you. And now the floodgates open again, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I first lost Frank, I didn't realize that there was so much losses in my life prior to losing him. And a lot of it had to do with our relationship as well. But in the busyness of being a wife and a mom and a corporate leader, right, in my world, I didn't have time to sit and think about all the things that I've lost in my life. We go through life, we're taught, right? Silver lining, be grateful. There are worse people or worse things that other people are going through. So be thankful for what you have, right? All of those things that we've learned through life, whether it's through family, whether it's through society, whether it's through community, we learn these things, right? And so it's so easy for us to switch off the uncomfortable feelings and move through life. I have a roof over my head. I have food on the table. I have clothes on my back. My grandparents said it. My parents said it. I said it to my kids. As long as you have those, be grateful. How about if we can, yes, be grateful for all of that, but allow the grief also to be met with grace, to be acknowledged, right? Because before there was grief, there was first love. We don't grieve if we don't love first. And that
Mm-hmm.
love will always sustain us. But we need to be able to heal from those parts of us that have been sitting inside our body for years. That's kind of where I want to close up with you guys, right? And something for you to think about as we close out today's session. We talk about our inner world. We talked about the nervous system. But I want you to get curious. Listen to your body. Where are you feeling the pain? Where are the aches and pains? Right? I've worked with many women that have had aches and pains for years, myself included. And we never realize that a lot of that is suppressed experiences, suppressed human emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a combination of many things, right? Maybe we're not eating well. Maybe we're not exercising enough. Maybe we're not sleeping well. Maybe there is a health condition that we got from our generations past. I don't know, right? But it could be a combination of things. Doctors will never come back to you and say it's because you have suppressed human emotions, Keith,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's the one thing that we're missing. And I promise you that if you pay attention, and this is to all of you on the call, if you pay attention to the aches and pains in your body, where is it at? And then be intentional. Every time you feel it, what are you thinking? Or what just happened? Right? Sometimes the brain will tell you, but a lot of times it's unconscious. But if we get curious, right? I love this word. This is Alfreda's word. Get curious. Ask yourself questions. How often do I feel that pain? What's happening? Did something trigger that made me remember? Right? Or am I suppressing something? Here's another exercise that you guys can do to let out some of those emotions, because sometimes we can't name it. If we never learned how to name human emotions, it's hard for us to name it. So thank you for those of you that did put it in the chat earlier. Sometimes we just don't know. So we're going to go to overwhelm. That kind of encompasses everything, right? So if you use the word overwhelm, that means that you've got so much other human emotions that are suppressed. And I don't want you to scare your family or to scare your neighbors or whatever. But here's what you could do to release it really quickly without even naming it. Just take a pillow and yell really loud into it. Like literally, and keep yelling. If the tears come, let it come. And keep yelling and keep crying and keep yelling and keep crying. Sometimes the brain will let you remember. And all of a sudden, like all of these things are going to come, which is why the tears will come and more yelling will come. I did this exercise once with a coach. The coach guided me through this. And he says, Darlene, just yell into a pillow. And he kept saying, what are you thinking? What are you remembering? Let it out. Let it out. Who comes to mind? Let it out. Let it out. And so as you're doing that, who comes to mind? Right? Don't feel bad. If your parents come up, if Rhonda comes up, if you come up, because maybe you're angry with yourself, I don't know. Gil comes up, you're angry at him for dying, I don't know. Right? Doesn't matter. Allow those feelings to come forward. Let the memories come forward so that you're allowing yourself to feel it. Acknowledge it. Let it be felt. Let it be processed through. At the end of all of that, okay, fair warning, you will be exhausted. Human emotions is energy. When you let energy out or you keep it in, either way, it's exhausting. Okay? Think about it. How exhausted are you when you're grieving? Pretty tired, right? We get exhausted because we're either holding it in or we're letting it out. Either way, it's exhausting. Give yourself grace, rest, listen to your body. And then tomorrow I'm going to ask you how you feel. Sound fair? Uh-oh. You guys frozen? Did I lose you guys? I'm right here. No, it's my computer. I think my computer froze. So, and I was talking the whole, I feel like, how long was I talking before you guys couldn't hear? Like you're all frozen. And I just realized that. So when I didn't see Keith nod his head, I was like, wait a minute. Are you guys all frozen? And then I looked at my phone and I saw Cindy talking. So I was like, uh-oh. All right. So can you guys tell me what was the last thing you heard me say? I'm so embarrassed.
Wow.
I don't even remember.
Talking about how about how the overwhelmed thing. I remember that. And
Okay. All right. So really quickly, did you guys hear yelling in a pillow?
no,
Oh my gosh.
No, we didn't.
Okay. Okay, that was the final exercise that I was explaining was if you feel overwhelmed, almost always that just means that we can't name our human emotions that we're feeling, and that's okay, right? Because most of us have never learned how to name those bad, painful human emotions. We know the basic ones: sadness, joy, anger, shame, guilt, right? But some of those other ones, we've never really like were taught to name them. but we feel them. And so overwhelm can be like the all-inclusive of all of those uncomfortable, painful human emotions. So if you use overwhelm a lot, I feel overwhelmed or I feel anxious. The last exercise that I wanted you guys to practice on yourself, if that's what you're feeling, is to take a pillow and to just yell into the pillow really loud and keep yelling. But as you're yelling, get curious and ask yourself, who's coming up? What's coming up? Who's coming up and what's coming up? And it's okay. Doesn't matter who comes up. Could be your late husband or wife. It could be your parents. It could be your children. It could be a former boss. It could be yourself, right? All of those experiences, don't feel bad about feeling any of them. Human emotions are meant to be felt. Just let them come forward. Let the tears come as well. Right? I did this exercise with a coach before. And as I was yelling in the pillow, he was asking me those questions. Who's coming up, Dar? What's coming up, Dar? Let it out. Let it out. Scream louder. Let the tears flow. Right? And so I'm guiding you guys through that. Like, just tell yourself it's okay to feel all of it. And the reason I'm telling you to scream into a pillow is because you don't want to freak anybody out. If you have a house full of people, you might freak them out. Or if you've got neighbors, you might freak them out. Either way, people might be like, what is happening? Right? And so scream into a pillow. Now, if you don't have anybody and like you're like in this place and there's like no neighbors for miles and you're by yourself, then don't worry about the pillow. Just scream the top of your lungs. But that is you processing and allowing human emotions to come up, whatever it is. Right? Just let it come. Fair warning, you will become exhausted, because feeling all of your human emotions is energy, and energy is exhausting. So whether we are suppressing or we are bringing it forward, either way, it's energy. And so you get to choose. How do you want to spend your energy? Do you want to spend your energy suppressing everything and not feeling it? You want to spend your energy feeling everything and processing and healing one moment at a time. One moment at a time. So if you are courageous enough to do that exercise tonight, I'd love to know tomorrow when we come on the call, how did you feel? But please be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace, rest, right? Drink lots of water, get grounded and do those breathing exercises, right? Before and after. But I promise you, you will feel better, right? You're going to be exhausted tonight, but I think tomorrow morning, maybe you'll have a little bit more clarity. Maybe you'll wake up with better energy, right? But it's very quick, easy, right? Doesn't require a lot. Just yelling and crying. Yelling and crying, yelling and crying, yelling and crying, right? But all of us that have lost, we've done a lot of crying, probably even yelling, right? So it's not new to us. But this time you're really intentional about releasing. Intentional about releasing. Intention is so important. Okay. All right. We are 6 minutes past at the hour. And again, I said I wanted to be mindful. So, final, any questions from anybody before we end our call today? Yes, Mr. Keith.
Same time tomorrow and the Fridays?
Yes, same time.
Okay.
Yep, same time. And we'll stick around here for about an hour. And then tomorrow we'll go a little bit deeper into some more action steps. And then on Friday we'll talk a little bit about traditions and old traditions versus new traditions, and how can we move through that in this season for the rest of the year. Okay. Sound good? You guys all good? Okay. Just before we end, I'd love to know, type in the chat what you're feeling now. Earlier, some of you put overwhelmed, lonely, anxious. I'd love to know what you're all feeling. So type in the chat. If I can get to a chat here. It's so hard with the phone. Use the phone. We are. Okay. Vanessa, excited. Good. Good. Thankful. Feeling more at peace. Thank you, for today's workshop. Thank you. Yes, yes, of course. Honor. Hopefully it recorded everything. I am frozen on my computer. That's where it was recording. So I'm not sure if it records in the background, but whatever it recorded, I'll definitely send out. Aw, thanks, Mom. All right. And for me, I am definitely grateful. Grateful for all of you, for showing up for yourselves and for giving me the honor of holding space for you and teaching you a little bit of what I know, and how we move through grief and healing and showing up for ourselves. So thank you all for showing up today, and I will see you all same time tomorrow. It's not too late if you know anybody else, another widow or widower, that could use this community of support. Invite them tomorrow, because I think tomorrow's going to be another good day for them to learn some new things. All right. So with that said, thank you, everybody. Love you all so much, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.
Right.
Bye. Technology. I am not a friend of technology at all.
It's okay. It's okay.
I feel like I was talking to, like, what did they
You were talking and it was, then you disappeared and we're like, oops.
and my screen won't disappear on my computer. It's still there. You're all still frozen. It's still there. I'm like, how is it that technology never is my friend?
Before we disappeared, you were like every now and then.
Was I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll have my daughter check the modem for tomorrow, but I'm like, what the heck just happened? And you guys, if it recorded, you'll see like I was so passionate and I was like literally like, talking about and then I was like,
Yeah. Because you were talking and we're all listening, and all of a sudden you disappeared, and then everybody's like, where did she go?
and then I asked Keith the question and he didn't nod or anything. I was like, wait a minute. Oh my God, they're all frozen. Oh my gosh, you just gotta laugh about it, right? That was just hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay. I know. I'm not upset about it, but I'm just saying like technology just has not been my friend on these last couple of events of mine, but I think they're good learning experiences, right? We just know we're not perfect. It's like not, you guys look. Can you see? Like it's like
We're still frozen. We're all still there.
you're all still frozen.
Someone need to check a computer.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, what the heck just happened here? So, and my computer's not hot.
Getting here, internet problems here in Guam and you.
Oh, anyways. Thanks you guys for jumping on. Thank you for, just being you and leading the way. I really do appreciate it. Tomorrow, definitely, for those of you that are on tomorrow, I might call you up and ask you just a few questions. Again, just about community, sisterhood, not doing this alone, and, just kind of where you're at again, like, how being in this community has really propelled you versus trying to do it by yourself, right? And so really inspiring that. Um, I was actually surprised that Keith showed up. So he was part of the launch, and I, obviously this was part of the launch stuff. I didn't think that anybody from the launch would actually show up. The other ladies that were on that didn't turn their cameras on, they're definitely all widows. They're all inside Widow Rising. I recognize all their names. So yeah, yeah, everybody else was widows. So I'm gonna reach. Yeah.
You're so some difficulty trying to get in, right? So that's why my sister, she couldn't get in, so I was trying to help her finally get in, so that's why she was late. But I'm not sure what the glitch was on that.
Yeah. Mine, I just had to type my name in again and put my email address, and then we had two choices, and the one that was available was register and join.
Yeah, and I just sent her that same thing, like, because I knew what you had said, so I sent it to her to just go do the whole thing again. And then it must have worked for her. So
That's
anyway.
so, yeah, you know what? That's interesting. Ness, did you have a problem?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, see, it's definitely the Wi-Fi here. I'll have my daughter check it out. But Ness, you had a problem jumping on as well?
Right. I did too. So,
Oh, Judy did too?
yeah. I think it was when I was looking for the link and I tried to register and join that. That's because it didn't allow me to join. It just said you have to register again and join it. It wasn't allowing my thing to go through.
Ah, so that's interesting though, because my mom didn't register. I sent her the direct link and she got in. Or maybe she did register. I can't see it in the background because, oh, maybe I can. Oh, it was just Zoom that was oh, but you know what? That's where the registration is in Zoom. Duh. So I'd have to like reset Zoom and then I'll look and see. But you guys were all registered, right? I saw Tina there, Vanessa there. All of you guys were registered. Every single one of you guys were registered. So it's really odd that it made you do that. But hopefully it was just a glitch with Zoom. Hopefully we don't have that problem tomorrow. But I sent the direct link inside the group, right? So the Facebook Messenger group, I put it in there.
That's the one I tried also.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Me too.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Facebook page, the invite, it says join event, and when I click that, it wanted me to like do the same.
Right. So the Facebook page is the registration, but the Facebook group, the messenger group that I created is the direct link into Zoom. So those are the two different links. But all right. I need to send.
Be a problem. I just had to put my birth name, last name, my email address, and then join.
So strange. Why, Alfreda, did it do that to you too?
Register and join, but
Yeah,
I didn't have to re-register again. I just put my name, my email address, and then I just joined, and it opened up.
What I had to do was I went to I went to Zoom and I just punched in the meeting number and then I connected to you.
Okay. Okay.
Because I couldn't do it, I couldn't get it any other way. So.
Yeah, so odd. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll play around with it tonight and tomorrow morning before we have our call tomorrow. All right, ladies, thank you again. I'm gonna let you guys go. Appreciate you. Love you all so much. Take care. Okay, bye.